Hello and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton, and today's album is an 80s classic. This is Scarecrow, credited to John Cougar Mellencamp. He went from being John Cougar to John Cougar Mellencamp to John Mellencamp. This was his 8th album, funny enough. It was released on August 5th, 1985. And this was Mellencamp's first sort of foray into sort of concept. He was kind of breaking away. I mean, Mellencamp always kind of came across as a little bit of a mid-Western Bruce Springsteen, that very kind of working man kind of songwriting stuff. Well, this was an album he made that he was talking about the plight of the American farmer, something that being from Seymour, Indiana, that Mellencamp knew quite a bit about. But it also contained 3 top 10 hits, which was the most of any Mellencamp album to this date. R.O.C.K. in the USA, it reached number 2 in the charts in the United States. A lot of you know Lonely Old Night, that was a top 10 hit, and also Small Town, which was a top 10 hit. And Lonely Old Night actually reached number 1 on the mainstream rock charts. In '89, a few years after the album came out, Scarecrow ranked in the top 100 greatest albums of the 1980s, for those of you that are interested in that type of stuff. But this is really a great sort of roots rock album. And fans of Americana music, the quote here, "There is nothing more sad or glorious than generations changing hands." This album is dedicated to Spec Mellencamp, who died in '83. This is on the Riva label. And mine is actually a Robert Ludwig mastered copy, which I'm really, really glad to have. Produced by Don Gaiman, kind of a big rock producer, and as well as Mellencamp, and so they produced the album, and so they were really trying to, what they had done. The band had got together and started rehearsing for the album, and they just played a lot of old rock and roll songs from the '60s, just everything garage music that they knew. And then they kind of went into the studio and they were just going to take sort of everything they were picking up from all those old rock and roll songs and to kind of put them in a new sort of light with John's arrangements. And so that's what they went for. And like I said, the theme of the album, according to some of the critiques I read, is the fading of the American dream in the face of corporate greed. And so there's songs like Face of the Nation, Minutes to Memories, and of course Small Town. They all have these sort of reflective kind of moods and just interesting stuff. Now, I think this is where Mellencamp really kind of broke away and became sort of a premier songwriter. Like I said, I don't think he ever fully escaped the shadow of Springsteen, if you will. I mean, Springsteen's so huge. But Mellencamp really kind of does the whole Midwestern thing really good. One of the founders of Farm Aid with Willie Nelson and Neil Young. Something that's very near and dear to his heart. And so I think this is the album that sort of solidified him as sort of the spokesman for the Midwest and that sort of image that he's maintained to this day, really. And so I think this was a breakthrough for him as an artist and as a recording artist as well. And so if you're into like Americana music and a lot of music that became popular now, and even like the singer-songwriter stuff with a good rock sound, a big rock sound, I think you would enjoy Scarecrow. It's easy to dismiss Mellencamp because to me, he's always kind of, like I said, lived in the shadows of these sort of people. I know a few years ago he did an interview with Rolling Stone magazine where he, kind of took credit for a lot of the Americana genre with this album. And I can see where he's coming from because it's definitely there, that sort of country-infused stuff. I mean, Mellencamp was doing it back in the 80s. And I don't think he invented it by any means. I think that's a stretch. But I think he certainly was a practitioner of it. And so fans of that get good guitar sounds and big drums and catchy hooks. This is a great place to start with Mellencamp. So if you know this album and have thoughts about it, comment down below. I love interacting with you guys. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. Please check out my other channel, my regular channel, Tommy Burton's VC channel. But in the meantime, I'll see you all again tomorrow with another Daily Record.